Okay, this is Financial Literacy, section 6.6. Open up to page 244 as you follow along in the book. So this is called Car Purchases and Leases. So we're going to look at leasing versus buying a car. And our first subsection 6.6.1 is financing car purchases. Make sure you write down all the notes and keep the notes for the notebook grade. Let's see if I can bring the book into view here. So it says Steve Rulin bought a used truck for $9,650. He paid for the truck with a $2,650 down payment and 36 monthly payments of $234.30. What total amount did the truck cost? All right, so this is example A on page 245. So the total cost is the down payment plus the total of the monthly payments. Okay, so the down payment was $2,650, and then the monthly payment is $234.30, and then he's going to do that for 36 months. So that is a total of $11,084.80. All right, example B, right underneath that. Okay, it says Iris Denise bought a luxury car for $47,851. Nice. And made $4,500 down payment. She got a special loan rate of 2.1% for 60 months. Iris's monthly payments were $761.74. What was her finance charge on the car? You actually don't need to know about the 2.1% since they gave us the monthly payment. So the finance charge is going to be equal to the total paid minus the purchase price. So we can get total paid pretty easy because we know the monthly payments, we know how many months. So the total paid is $4,500. That was the down payment, plus her monthly payment, a hefty $761.74. And she did that for 60 months. So 5 years of that big payment. I hope she liked that car. So $52,0440. The purchase price we're going to subtract out. That's $47,851. So we know that the finance charge is $23,53.40. That's so low because 2.1% is an incredibly low interest rate. So that's why, ultimately this wasn't such a bad deal for her. She only paid $2,353 of interest on a very expensive car over 5 years. But even as low as the interest rates are today, that's even a difficult rate to get on a car. All right, let's move on to 6.6.2. Pause if you need to. 6.6.2 is the cost of leasing. All right, so what is a lease exactly? That is a contract between the owner all right, in the contract they'll be called the lessor of the car and the lessee, that's the person doing the leasing. All right. For the right to use the car. All right, a lease contract is an agreement that establishes all right. A lot of things here, so I'm gonna make a big list. I'll use arrows, you can use whatever you want. Lease price, the down payment, the residual value, I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll talk about it now. It's the value of the car at the end of the lease term. All right, the interest rate. So if you wanted to buy the car at the end of the lease, you'd have to pay the residual value to the owner. The lease term, that's how long. You know, usually 2 or 3 years. Security deposit. Loan fee. Love those fees. Pure profit. Registration fees, so that'd be with the county or whatever government entity is licensing the car. And the mileage allowed. You can't just drive as many miles as you want. There's usually a limit, and if you go over that limit, you have to pay extra. All right, pause the video if you need to, and the rest of the lecture is just working a few problems. Okay, we're still in 6.6.2. All right, let's look at example C on page 246. All right, Candace Ortiz had a 2-year car lease with a $528 monthly payment. Her lease had mileage limit of 12,000 miles a year. It charged 20 cents a mile for each mile over the limit. Her total mileage for 2 years was 30,850. What was the total cost of the lease over its term? All right, so the total cost and this is all pretty much common sense. I hope that's what you think. It's going to be the sum of all the payments over those 2 years plus any extra charges. Okay, so the payments $528 a month times 24 months. Plus, so she could only drive it 12,000 miles a year. So over the 2 years, she could drive it 24,000 miles. But instead, she drove 30,850. So again, this is the payments minus the 24,000 that she was allowed. Okay, those are miles. And then she had to pay 20 cents a mile for that. I should have started a little bit further too. So this would be, we'll call this extra mileage. Okay, and if you add all that up, you'll get $14,042. All right, so darn those extra miles. All right, let's look at example D. All right, so example D, we have Terrence Dugan's 4-year lease cost $332 a month and allowed him to drive 12,000 miles a year. He bought 3,000 extra miles each year for an additional charge of 7 cents a mile. So he got a better deal than the previous one. Lease processing fees and down payment totaled $418. What was the 4-year cost of the lease? All right, so again, we're doing the sum of the payments plus all the extra charges. Okay, so the total cost, you're going to have $332 a month times 4 years, so 48 months, right? Plus 12,000. Okay, so where did I get the 12,000? It's 3,000 miles a year for 4 years. Okay, so 12,000 and then 7 cents a mile. So this is the extra miles. But again, it's over the 4-year period, not a 1-year period. Payments here. And then he also had to pay 418 bucks in fees. All right, now all that adds up to 17,194 smackers. All right, so I don't have any more vocab for you. Just we'll just work a couple more problems. All right, this next one is comparing buying and leasing. In fact, I believe that's the next two. So just turn the page. On page 247. So it says a car that costs $18,500 can be leased for $436 monthly payment with $500 down and $11,000 residual value. Again, that's how much it would cost to buy the car at the end of the lease. So we have to include that. The monthly loan price cost is $728 with a $3,100 down payment. The lease and loan terms are 24 months, which is less expensive, leasing or buying, and how much. So first, let's add up the cost to lease. Okay, so we have a $500 deposit, and then the monthly payments are $436, and then that's 24 months. And then we have to include the residual value, because you'd have to pay that then to buy the car at the end. So that is $21,964. Now let's look at the cost to buy. All right, so for buying, we'd have a $3,100 All right, and instead of deposit, that's actually, you can think of it that way. It's not really. That was down payment. So sorry about that. Same thing here, down payment. And then the payments are $728 a month for 24 months. Bigger payment, but you own the car at the end. And then that adds up to $20,572. All right, so it is cheaper to buy, right? And the amount is $21,964 minus $2,572, and so that is $1,392. Almost $1,492. Okay, cheaper to buy. Okay, pause the video if you need to. I have one more to work. I promise to clean this board soon. Oh, and oh my gosh, the last, above example E, right, 6.6.3, leasing versus buying. That actually should go above the last example. Forgot to write that in. Okay, so put that right above example E. Just squish it in there. Okay, when I grade your notebook, then that'll be there. Example F. This is page 247. Okay, just let me get the book into view. This is a car that sells for $37,960 today, is expected to have a residual value of $19,050 in 4 years with a $3,800 down payment. The loan payments for 4 years will be $873 monthly. Monthly lease price of 4 years with a $995 down payment is $623. Which costs more, leasing or buying, and how much more? So last one, it was which costs less. This one, which costs more. Okay, so let's look at the lease. Okay, you have a down payment of $995. And then we have $623 a month payment amount, and it's 4 years, so 48 months. So those are our payments. And then the residual value, how much would it cost to buy at the end? $19,050. Right, add those up and you get $49,949. Hope that is a nice car. All right. And then for buying, the down payment is $3,800. And then you have the payment of $873 a month, 48 months. That is a steep monthly payment. You get a good job. All right, and there's nothing else there. So add those two together, you get $45,704. Okay, so leasing, right? If you subtract those two, leasing costs, and then we'll do $49,949 minus $45,704. 42, 45 more. Right, and that's usually the case. It usually is more expensive to lease in the long term, but your payments are lower. That's why people like to go for them. Okay, the homework. Is page 248, 9, number 9, and 11 through 17, all of those. Okay, so let me give you the answer to the even problems real quick. Okay, so the first even problem is number 12. Okay, that answer is leasing. And it is $19.94 more. Right, number 14. Okay, the answer is $27,624. Number 16. So this is the last one. Is $24,693.60. Okay, all the others are in the back of your book. So that does it for section 6.6. I will talk to you next video.